Today we'll be reviewing backwards there. Today we'll be reviewing this guy, the EVGA CLC120, a 120 by 120 millimeter all-in-one AIO liquid cooler. I'll explain more about that later, but this thing's pretty great. It's from EVGA. You got branding all over it. I'm really excited to get into this, unbox it, and see what's up. Alright, so changing the angle of attack here, we got the box. I'm using an ice pick that came with a screwdriver set because I don't have a knife on me. So we're just gonna kind of cut through this here. Boom. Alright, I love this. It's like a really nice, I don't know, it's just some sort of plastic wrap thing. Just kind of yeet it out of there. So what we got here is the closed loop cooler circuit. That's what it looks like up there. I mean, obviously you're gonna see it in like 10 seconds, so I wouldn't really care too much about that picture. So sliding it out of this really neat thing that's impossible to, oh, there we go. You just gotta grab it by the right angle, kind of just lay that off to the side, because I do plan on keeping that. I like to keep boxes. Even if you don't, I'd highly recommend it. Pretty cool thing to do. So yeah, we got the, let me just get you up here. We got this really cool EVGA. You're not gonna be able to see it. Whatever, it's fine. But it's EVGA tape. Has EVGA's logo all over it. EVGA is pretty much all over this thing, as you can tell. So good luck trying to steal this from their company, or brand it otherwise. So again, using the ice pick, which is kind of effective. I wouldn't recommend using it in many things, but for cutting tape, it's fine. So opening up the package, we got this double mountain thing, or whatever that is, to help keep it nice and secure. Actually, nope, take that back. We got, just gonna triple mountain, so boom, boom, boom. Don't know why you need 3 of them. Whatever. We got, again, EVGA logo, information packet. Cool. And then we got the cooler itself, which is in so much foam, you could probably cast something with all this. Not like I'm gonna, but, you know, excessive amount of foam. This is a really nice, dense foam, but not too dense to the point where if it hits something, it'll break. It's more so like really, really cushiony, as you can tell there. I don't know, shaking the camera a little bit. It's fine. And then inside of this, we have the actual cooler. So right here is the radiator. Okay, that's, ooh, I thought it was like, it felt weird for a second. It's paper. I thought it was low quality, but that's not where you're gonna get from EVGA. It's kind of the opposite of what you're gonna get from EVGA. I do like EVGA's products. They're not enticing me to say that or anything. I'm just not sponsored. Don't know why it would be. It's my first video, but whatever. It's besides the point. This is very high quality. I have an EVGA motherboard or graphics card and power supply. Love them. I mean, the 2 main reasons I bought this was better cooling for my CPU and the cool RGB logo. I know, probably shouldn't be going coolers based on the logos that you get, but you know what? It's a good brand. If you had to buy any water cooler, I'd go with EVGA. They have a 280 millimeter version of this and a 240 millimeter. This is the 120. But let's continue with the unboxing here. So here we go. These are the brackets. You can't see it, but it says AMD in this one green sticker. There's another green sticker like right below it that says AM4. So you got multiple different brackets for all the different CPUs that you're gonna have. It comes pre-installed with an Intel one. I don't have an Intel. I have an AMD. I'm lucky. I'm glad that they do include the brackets for that. So we'll have to do more on that later. So that's a wire. All right, this thing is just gonna come out all in one here. So like I said before, I thought it was off feeling. That was just the paper. So it comes in a nice paper there. We got a very cold metal around the radiator, probably because it was outside for a little bit, you know, pretty cold out here. taking the entire thing out of its extremely foamy enclosure that we won't be needing anymore, we see the actual cooler itself. So a lot bigger than I expected it to be, not gonna lie. Don't know what I was expecting, actually. I guess I did expect a size fan like this, but my fan seems smaller. I don't know, it's got some weight to it. I would say maybe a pound or two, although I don't have a scale, so it's not entirely accurate, right? But it does come pre-applied with thermal paste, which I will be using because I don't have any myself. Probably should get some for the future, but you know, I'm not doing too much with heat sinks and all that, so I think I'll be fine for now. Looks like it has... Not sure what these two are. They are 4-pin connectors, probably extension cords for the pump and the fan, although this is for the, I think, CPU fan header, or maybe just the fan. I'll dive into that. That's why they include an instruction pamphlet. But yeah, they got the radiator here, which very, very fine fins going through it. Oh yeah, you can see through it. See, it's like, ooh, you can see my hand back there. Yeah, so you can see through it. Nice airflow with that. The fan feels like a high quality. I don't know. When I was looking up other stuff on this, the fan did look 3D printed. Although now that I have it, it doesn't feel 3D printed. That's the main thing. It feels like it's a high quality fan. Got the nice EVGA logo on there, and of course, one of the other main reasons that this thing is cool, kind of covered by the little pumps there, but we got EVGA right there. It does light up in multiple colors, and I think it syncs with your other EVGA components, such as a graphics card, and that's about it, because, well, a motherboard if you really have one, but, you know, I did go with a 120mm instead of the 240. At the time when I bought this around Christmas, they were roughly the same price. Now, twice as much stuff for the same price. Pretty big confusion that I had there as well. Pretty big, I don't know, but I think it was just deals. Now it's $99 for the bigger one, or for the 240, which is two 120s. I think it was like 60 or 70 for this one, so not terrible. If you go onto EVGA's website, I think it might be a little bit more. Amazon normally kind of helps you out there. Everything seems to be on sale on Amazon. I don't know, just something I've noticed. Like you can't find something that's not on. Well, you can find stuff, but it's like everything seems to be 5% off nowadays. Don't know why, just is. I'm kind of glad that it is, but whatever. And so yeah, we just got like this really high quality water cooler. Really excited to put it into my machine, test it out. I do have a stock, I think it's Wraith Spire cooler on there that came with my AMD Ryzen 5 1500X. So I will be doing some heat comparisons. I'm going to be playing a game for a certain amount of time, record the top temperature it gets to. I know it's not as professional as going to like IDA 64 or whatever, but you know, it's more of a realistic test. Like if you were to get this and overclock your CPU, what would your experience be playing the game? Because I guarantee, while it does give a good explanation of what happens at 100%, you're going to be most likely playing games and browsing the internet with this thing. You're not going to be running IDA 64 and that's it. You're not going to buy this to run a software that stresses your CPU. So I figure why not go with a more realistic test to see how it works. So I'm going to get it installed here. We'll not be showing that because I have a feeling it's going to take me a very long time to do so, because I got to move the brackets and all that, and I don't want to mess things up. I want to do it properly. But yeah, I'll catch up with you guys after it's installed. I'll show you what it looks like in my machine, and we'll get to the numbers afterwards. Alright, so the reviews have been done. We are using this guy, the Ryzen 5 1500X. That's the CPU I was testing with the EVGA cooler, as well as this piece of junk. Now, I know, it's practically free. Comes with the CPU, at least the 1500X. It's not the Stealth, so it's better than that. Has more surface area, but this thing is, I don't know. It was okay. When I was using it, it worked fine. It gave me a 4 gigahertz, megahertz. I'll have to check on that, but it's, Yeah, it gave me 4 megahertz. That's what Task Manager says. Yeah. All right, that's what my thing says. So I'll go with it. 4 megahertz on the CPU. If I'm wrong, correct me. All right, I don't want to be terrible here. But 4 megahertz gave me a good overclock, and for playing a game like most people would be doing with this thing, video editing, a little bit different scenario, but probably same amount of stress. I was getting about 79 degrees Celsius, maybe up to 80 in some instances, and that's pretty hot, but it's not terrible. I mean, compared to like nothing, of course it's better, but like I've seen, you know, really cheap coolers get all the way up into 100 and thermal throttle. My card never really thermal throttled that I noticed. It didn't get up to the point where it would drop the clock rate because I have this monitoring software. Solid 4 megahertz the entire time. So, you know, pretty happy about that. It was a really, really solid, stable overclock with that. So putting this aside, just kind of toss it on the floor. To what you guys really want to know, this guy. So, of course, water has a different heat capacity than air, so it'll take longer to warm up. So I ran the test for about 20 to 30 minutes. Test as in just playing Call of Duty, which had a lot of fun doing. But what happened was I got up to roughly 60, 62 degrees. So it's a crazy big difference. And while the test was not entirely fair because they were overclocked, it wasn't the base speed. That does tell you, though, that if you were to run the base speed, it'd be cooler. So if you're going to be doing simple overclocks with not like crazy cards like the i9 or whatever, Ryzen 7, like if you just have a Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5, lower end, you know, the not as hot CPUs, this guy will do you just fine. And for $60, I think it's plenty worth it. If you want to spend less than $60, I'd recommend going with an air cooler because you can't find a good quality AIO water cooler for under $60. But if you have more than $60 or $60 exactly, go with this. I mean, you might have your other brands like Corsair or NZXT that you trust more, but especially if you have over like around $100, $120, definitely go or check out at least the EVGA 240 and 280. You're gonna get a lot of bang for your buck. Now, was this the best I could have gotten for my money? Maybe not. I probably could have gotten a 240, which would have given me more surface area for cooling, but 60 degrees is what I feel comfortable with. Now, I mean, in Fahrenheit, that's like way over 100, but what I'm trying to get at here is it's good. I mean, you see, my GPU was getting up into 80 on average. Maybe even, well, not 90. I've never seen it 90. But, like, the fan's pretty low speed was around 80, and this thing was cooling my CPU 20 degrees less than that. So why wouldn't you go with this? It's pretty good pricing, although, again, if you want more, if you're going to be aggressively overclocking your CPU and you have something really big, maybe go with a bigger model. But overall, EVGA's build quality and just coolness factor with that EVGA logo that's lit up is amazing, and I think it's worth the price. So the one major drawback that I saw with this is the fan's not RGB, but that's more of an aesthetic thing. If you want performance, I think this is pretty good. Now, I haven't tested all the different AIOs. This is my first one, but I feel like if you're just getting into it, go with this guy. If you already have one, maybe you want to stick with your brand because I'm not sure whether or not they outcompete it. And this one can get pretty loud at max temperature or at max fan speed. It's like a leaf blower in your computer. Well, maybe not as intense as that, but it's pretty loud. So if you want a more quiet computer, go with something different. But I feel like just with pure performance, this thing is about as good as you're going to get for around $60. So yeah, that's what I think about it. And yeah. All right. So we got inside my case here, and as you can see, a snake has clearly died inside of it. But cable management aside, this is a beautiful CPU when it's running. Yes, I am aware that the radiator right here takes up a little bit more room than the fans do, And, you know, that's kind of expected when you have a giant, you know, heat sink or like, you know, radiator on the back of a fan, and it takes up room. So if you're going to be thinking about getting this, make sure to take that into account. But also, it's really good if you don't have too much room in your case and you don't want to sacrifice airflow as much, because as you're probably already aware, when it pulls the air through this, what happens is it heats up the air by, you know, that's what the surface area and the radiator is for. Water passes through it, air passes through that, and then it wicks away heat from the water, and it goes back to the CPU. So, in turn, the inside of your CPU will be hotter than if you were to put it as an exhaust. I can't speak. I don't know why. But if you have it as an exhaust fan, what happens is you're taking the hot air from your PC and then pushing that through it, which also isn't too good. So you do have to kind of think about the pros and cons of where you put it. I did decide to put it right there because, yes, it does supply hotter air to my computer, although looking at a couple different YouTube videos, the graphics card didn't seem to have too much of a hit by it. Now you can probably do the test yourself and see whether or not you want to, or where you want to put it. Maybe even at the top might be a good idea. My case, sadly, does not support top or bottom anything. So, you know, you have to keep that in mind as well, your case. This is nice because it only takes up one 120 millimeter slot. So you have room for fans that are pulling in colder air. As here, this fan is pulling in much colder air than this one, and that just kind of counteracts each other. And that's why I didn't go with a 2 millimeter or 240 millimeter, because I wanted to make sure that I was getting some air, cold air, into my case. But yeah, so all in all, I like it. It looks nice. We got the blue light up here, synced, kind of looks the same as the graphics card. Now, I mean, yes, you can get it if you don't have an EVGA graphics card. It's not going to be the end of the world, but if you have an EVGA graphics card as of now, think about matching them up a little bit. I think it looks good. It looks good. I'm not saying only get it for the looks, but it also functions. So if you have $60 lying around and you're looking to get out of the stock cooling business, or you want to upgrade from a not so good air cooler, then I would recommend the EVGA CLC120. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.